Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Uncle Mad here. Sunday morning live stream back. Took last week off with the Titans being on a bye week. They are back today hosting the Indianapolis Colts at Nissan Stadium. I'll be there live. We'll have a game day vlog coming out from that probably tomorrow. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so you get that and all the other content we publish here on the channel. Gonna have a lot coming up. We've got a lot of Halloween, Spooktober, spooky season content coming up. And then, if you follow the channel for a while, November is a big month. Me and Jesta, we do our annual Bahia vacation to the Caribbean. I don't know why I pronounced it that way, but that's coming up. So I'll have a lot of videos from that trip and everything else. So a lot to look forward to, a lot to be paying attention to, a lot to stay tuned for. But today we're looking at the Titans versus Colts matchup and also going through the full week 6 slate of NFL action picks for each game. They've been terrible. I've been all over the place, but this feels like the week where you're starting to figure things out. You're like, okay, I think I have a better idea of what this team is, but there will still be weird, random stuff that you just can't predict, just can't see coming. Like, for example, UT, Florida, yesterday, everything going Florida's way. UT, no momentum. Looks like it's a dead game late in the third quarter. Florida's quarterback, Graham Mertz, pops an Achilles out of nowhere, non-contact injury on a touchdown pass to seemingly kill off the Vols. He's out of the game. Florida can't do anything the rest of the time. UT steals the momentum. Looks like they're going to win. Then Florida actually puts a drive together to tie the game. Should have gone for 2. What a chicken coward move by Billy Napier, not going for 2 to win that game. You'll say, oh, we got a freshman inexperienced quarterback in, didn't want to risk it. Well, they barely moved the ball all game long since that quarterback had come in. They had a chance to win it and not have to do anything else. Should have gone for it. Because you knew in overtime you weren't going to get the job done in overtime because you can't move the ball. But neither here nor there. We're not here to talk Vols in Florida. But that was a crazy game. A lot of crazy games yesterday. College football was awesome yesterday. So many awesome games. Vandy, 2 wins in a row. When's the last time that ever happened? 2 SEC wins in a row even? That's crazy. Go Doors, anchored down. Titans Colts. Last we saw the Titans, we beat the Dolphins on Monday Night Football in what was a borderline unwatchable game. The Dolphins could not do anything. The Titans did one of those games where Will Levis got knocked out with an injury. Mason Rudolph came in, and we just decided we were just not going to do anything. We're going to run the ball, play defense, just kill the game off, and that's what we did. Led to a lot of people saying, oh, should the Titans stick with Mason Rudolph going forward? Does Mason Rudolph give the Titans a better chance to win? And a lot of people have had their reactions since then. I haven't been on since then, but I think I'm aligned with most intelligent people who say, one, if Mason Rudolph had come in and slung the ball all over the field, thrown for like 350 yards and like 4 touchdowns, maybe we have a little bit more of a serious conversation about the transition to Mason Rudolph. But he came in, the game was already pretty much in hand because the Dolphins couldn't do anything. So he just spent 3 quarters handing the ball off to Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears. I hope Will Levis can do that. We've seen Will Levis mess up a lot of things that should be easy, but I think he could have done that had he not been knocked out injured. So it's not like Mason Rudolph came in and lit the world on fire. He just came in and did the simple things, which, once again, Will Levis has not always done that. So, but the bigger picture thing is win, lose, or draw. One of the biggest things the Titans have to accomplish this season is definitively figure out, is Will Levis the guy, or do we need to hit the reset button at the quarterback position in some form or fashion this offseason, whether that's, drafting a new quarterback, whether that's kind of doing what the Vikings and some other teams are doing this season, going and finding like a kind of veteran on the market who maybe you can spice up a little bit. Sam Darnold will be a free agent from Minnesota this season. Do you think you can go do something there? I don't know. That's a little bit further down the line. But, win, lose, or draw, the most important thing the Titans can do this season is figure out Will Levis. Can he turn the corner? Can he do what Josh Allen did and go from being a complete disaster head case to a passable, successful NFL quarterback? Jury's still on that. Too early to say. Everybody wants to throw him under the bus. I mean, it's crazy. He has 9 turnovers in 3 games. That's crazy. But if you look at some other quarterbacks early in their days, similar struggles, he's basically still a rookie. He hasn't played like a full 16, 17 NFL games yet. So there's time. It's a new offense too. There's so much new about this team. I do think one of the things I wish, and I think I said this at the time that the coaching staff kind of got finalized and formalized, I wish the Titans hadn't gone with so many people who are in their specific position for the first time on the coaching staff. So we got Brian Callahan, first time ever head coach. He's also calling plays, running the offense for the first time ever. He was offensive coordinator in Cincinnati, but he didn't call the plays. Their head coach, Zach Taylor, called the plays. Our offensive coordinator, who's not calling plays, so that's a little bit less work for him, but he's offensive coordinator for the first time. Defensive coordinator, everybody loves the guy. Denard Wilson, highly rated, highly thought of, highly, sought after. A lot of people looking at him as a potential head coach in a few years. Still, first time he's ever been a defensive coordinator. Special teams guy, Colt Anderson, first time being special teams coordinator. Like a lot of first time people on that staff, one of the few exceptions being Bill Callahan, the offensive line coach. I wish just, particularly at the three key positions, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, one of those three, I feel like we should have gone with somebody with some experience level, some history, as opposed to all first time people. I think that's going to been a huge kind of setback, as we got too many people who were kind of learning on the fly. Too many people that are learning on the fly, which includes the coaches, the quarterbacks, players on the field, just all around. You need some experience. You need some leadership that kind of knows the score, that kind of knows what they're doing, that isn't trying to figure out what's best for everybody kind of on the fly as I'm knocking stuff off my desk here. But specifically going up to the day of the Colts, it has been kind of funny. There was a lot of discord this week about, is Anthony Richardson going to play? Is it going to be Joe Flacco? And there was some funny back and forth on Twitter between Titans fans and Colts fans, where Titans fans feel like they'd rather probably see Joe Flacco or rather see Anthony Richardson as opposed to Joe Flacco. So they'd rather face the Colts backup than their starter. No, they'd rather face the Colts starter than their backup. And the Colts, by and large, feel the same way. They'd rather face Will Levis than Mason Rudolph, because that's how fluky back and forth all over the place both starting quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson and Will Levis, had been. I'm telling you, I 100% on page with that, because I think Joe Flacco, one of our biggest weaknesses this season has been lack of a pass rush. Jeffrey Simmons has been out injured, but still has I think one, maybe two quarterback pressures all season long. And he's facing a lot of double and triple teams, but to, the guy who's supposed to be your leader on defense, supposed to be your best player, to have that low of an impact, it's not great. Arden Key, zeros across the board pretty much, and his stat line, just not getting pass rush. So a quarterback like Joe Flacco, whose biggest weakness is probably mobility at this stage of his career, if you just aren't going to pressure him, you aren't going to make him move, you aren't going to rattle him, if you just let him sit back there and throw bombs, he'll pick you apart. So I definitely fall in the camp of I would much rather see Anthony Richardson than I would rather see Joe Flacco, because I think Anthony Richardson, even without us creating enough pressure, I think he's more likely to make mistakes than Joe Flacco would be in this spot. At one point in the week, it looked like the Colts were going to be super, super decimated, but it looks like they're actually going to be a little bit stronger than they thought. Pittman, talented wide receiver they have, he was questionable earlier in the week, but he's going to play. I think maybe not Josh Downs, I believe another one of their talent receivers, was sort of questionable this week, but it looks like he's good to go. I think last I heard, it sounded like Richardson's good to go. So one of the major misses still for them, though, is going to be DeForest Buckner, the star defensive tackle. He's out, so that could let us lean on the run a little bit more like we did against the Dolphins, get Pollard, Spears going again. They're also going to be missing Jonathan Taylor, their star running back. He's missed a lot lately, so I don't know how much that changes for them, because they've had to pretty much play without him for the better part of the last two seasons. But our run game against their defense, I like it if we can get ahead early. That's going to be the key to us in this game. If we get behind and have to throw, have to pass, that's where we're going to be in trouble. So if we can get out to a good start, if we can get a lead early to where we can run the ball, attack their kind of weak run defense, control the game that way like we did against the Dolphins, I like our chances there. Anthony Richardson's going to have one insanely awesome play in the game, guaranteed, some kind of crazy. He's jumping and throws a 75-yard bomb for a touchdown. So that's going to be in there at some point in time. Well, that sucks. My mic cut out at some point in time. I don't know how long I was just rambling on there before. Oh, boy. I'm so good at live streaming. I should just do this professionally. This should be my full-time job, because I just probably spent 8 minutes talking with my mic cut off, and because it randomly stopped working, got muted somehow. But oh well. What I was basically saying, I'll just kind of reiterate the last couple minutes rather than
going back to square one because I have no idea when the mic stopped working. The joys of a live stream. Oh boy. Um, Titans running attack versus the Colts run defense, I think, is where we can exploit them and have a chance to win this game. The key to that is we got to get out to an early lead. We got to get out to a good start. If we fall behind and we're having to throw the ball, we're having to chase the game. That's not a spot we're ever going to be good at against any team. But if we can come out early, get the ground game going, get some control in that regard, kind of like we did against the Dolphins, I like our chances in here. Richardson's going to have one just insane, crazy 75-yard bomb touchdown at some point in the game. So you just anticipate that, know that's coming, be aware of that. The one thing with the Dolphins game, a lot of people were like, "Oh, the offensive line like really improved, a big step forward." Well, it was very deceiving because we weren't passing that much. So they didn't have to pass block that much. So didn't give up as many pressures because there weren't many opportunities to give up pressures. But it really is a testament to how good Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears did in that game because they were getting hit in the backfield like every play. The run blocking sucked, and they were breaking tackles and getting up the field. I think it was something crazy like Tony Pollard had like 100 plus total yards, and something like 98 of them were after contact. So that's how early he was getting hit, like, and how much he was having to make the extra effort to create yardage to get stuff going. But I don't know, man. The offensive line continues to be a problem, specifically the right side. Brought on some guy. I don't know if he was on the practice squad. I think his name's Watson. I don't know where he came from, but he was splitting reps this week with Nicholas Petit-Frere. I don't know if a guy who's been on your practice squad doing nothing is the guy who's going to make a huge, upgrade. But I mean, one of the things that we thought maybe could happen with MPF was if Bill Callahan got his hands on him, he could turn him into something, improve him, and that doesn't seem to have happened. MPF just seems to be broken-brained idiot. So maybe this guy who's been on the practice squad is taking in the coaching, is listening to what Bill Callahan's been saying, and can kind of be less of a disaster, less of a catastrophe than what we've seen on the right side with MPF. But hard to see the offensive line being much better. And that's kind of like one of the bigger problems that I've thought about this team. We've been so conservative on offense. And I think part of that is, Bill Callahan or Brian Callahan not fully trusting Will Levis, rightfully so, but also just not trusting the offensive line to help out in any regard. So it's a double-edged sword with the two weaknesses of our offense being two things you really need to kind of be able to trust and rely on, your quarterback and your offensive line, and we can't trust either. I mentioned earlier, I would stick with Will Levis throughout the season. Rudolph didn't light the world on fire. He just didn't make any mistakes in the game against the Dolphins. So if he'd come out and throw for like 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, like I said, maybe you look at making a switch there. But based just on like the fact that he successfully handed the ball off like 40 times isn't enough to make me say, let's make a change. I think we have to see this thing through with Will Levis, see what he's got. By the end of the season, win, lose, or draw, need to know, are we moving forward with Will Levis, or do we need to hit the reset button at the quarterback position at the end of the season? But I think a part of that comes down to Brian Callahan. I think he's got to take the training wheels off. I think he's got to stop being so conservative in his play calling. Let it rip. Will Levis is like, he's a gunslinger, man. Like, he's never going to be a guy who's just going to be able to go through reads and take simple, basic plays. Just let it rip the Band-Aid off, go full bore, run the openest, full offense you can possibly run to really truthfully see what you've got. Because if you run this conservative, don't really try anything offense, you're still really not going to know what you got in Will Levis. So you just got to figure it out. It's looking negative right now with Levis, but I think, still small sample size. Still, he hasn't played like a full, I don't even know if he's got up to is he up to even 10 starts yet? I don't know, but rip the Band-Aid off, run your offense, run your full offense, see if he can do anything, see if he can do what needs to be done. Just figure it out and let it go. I would pick the Colts to win today. I think the Dolphins are just one of the worst teams in the NFL. I think we just, took advantage of being the better of two bad teams. I think the Colts probably have better weapons. Anthony Richardson he's made mistakes like Levis has, but he's made more plays than Will Levis had. And I think, like, to what I was just saying, I think they've given him the opportunity to make plays more than the Titans have given Will Levis the opportunity to make plays. So that's why I'm saying I'd open it up a little bit more for Levis, but never know. I would pick the Colts. That'll transition well into our picks. We're going to go through the full slate for week 6, not counting Thursday Night Football because that already happened. Give you my best bet on the spread for each and every game. These odds will all come from DraftKings, not a sponsor of the show, just the app that I always pull up and open. We've got Bears, Jaguars in London. The game's going on right now. Bears are up 7-3, almost halftime, and the Bears are driving, looking like they could potentially add some points here right before the half. Live line is Bears 6.5. I took Bears money line in this game just because Jaguars beat the Colts last week to get their first win of the season, but that was like the Colts have this weird mojo where they never win in Jacksonville, so that was a little bit fluky, and it was a struggle to even get that win for Jacksonville. So not convinced by them at all this season. I think the Bears are starting to kind of figure some stuff out, starting to look, not good, but they're not struggling the way they were in the first game against the Titans, where they somehow found a way to beat the Titans. So I took the Bears money line. The live line's 7.5. It just jumped up to 7.5 because I think the Bears are about to go in and score some points here right before the half. But if I could have, I would have jumped on that 6.5 touchdown Bears. Yep, that's why the line jumped. So, all right, to the games that have not started yet, let's go to Titans first, just because we already talked about that a little bit. The line is Titans -3. This line has jumped all over the place throughout the week. Like, I think the Colts were actually favored until it got announced that Anthony Richardson was playing. I think that's what I read somewhere. It was like, once Anthony Richardson got announced as starting for the Colts, which is crazy, the line shifted to the Titans being favored. So this line's been all over the place. It's been crazy. I just, nothing I've seen about the Titans against semi-competent teams makes me believe they can convincingly win a game. 3 points isn't that much. I think the Titans have a chance to win, but I don't feel good about it. I'd take Colts +3 because it could be like a 24-21 game, get a push there, or 24-23, 28-27. I don't know if Titans can score that many points again. They had to basically get a fluky penalty that nobody knew was a penalty from the Dolphins to even get it to 30 points on that last play of the first game. But we'll go Colts +3 in that game that we've been talking about. Let's go to the rest of the slate. Texans, Patriots. Patriots starting Drake May for the first time ever today. Texans been a little zigzaggy, a little up and down. Got a good win against the Bills last week. We've seen teams with the big spreads this season, though, not, delivered. Drake May's kind of an unknown. He definitely can do more than Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett is just is immobile and can't throw the ball. So at least Drake May maybe has a little bit of mobility, better arm. But is it good enough to be within a touchdown of the Texans? I don't think so. If this was 7 or higher, I might look at Patriots, but 6.5, that feels a pretty safe bet. We'll take Texans 6.5. Commanders, Ravens, this game probably awesome. Jaden Daniels, very happy to be currently holding a Offensive Rookie of the Year ticket for him. It's Ravens, Commanders, kind of local, semi-local rivalry type game. That's kind of a nice little matchup and thing to play off of there. Ravens 6.5-point favorites. The Commanders' defense has looked better than people thought it was going to be, but the teams they've been playing, it's Bengals, we don't know what the Bengals are. The Browns are atrocious. I like them. I like that Jaden Daniels feels like he can keep them in any game. I don't know if they can beat the Ravens, but I feel like Jaden Daniels has got that thing where he's probably going to be able to keep teams in games. He can push his team down the field to keep them in games. So I'll take the Commanders +6.5. I really would love +7. If you could find +7 on that, I'd take that in a heartbeat. Browns, Eagles. Eagles 8.5-point favorites. The Eagles, these teams both have just had disastrous seasons. I think I have to take Browns just because these huge spreads have not been covering the season. Like the underdog has covered in almost all of these monstrous, huge spreads. So Eagles haven't done anything to look like they should be an 8.5-point favorite over anybody, but the Browns have been, horrible. But I'm taking just on principle because the spreads of this size have been coming for the underdog. So we're going Browns +8.5. Bucks -3.5 over the Saints. I got Bucks -3 earlier in the week. The Saints are starting Spencer Rattler with Derek Carr out, which begs the question: why didn't Spencer Rattler come in the game last week? I was on the Saints in that game, and they sent in some other dude who was awful. I'll still go Bucks. I already was on Bucks, but I got it at 3. I like 3 a lot better than 3.5, but we'll take 3.5 just because we're already on that. Packers, Cardinals. Packers 5.5-point favorite. Cardinals have been frisky. Packers looking like what the team we thought they were now that Jordan Love's getting a little more comfortable. They're settling in. They're getting healthy. I think they're getting Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs back, so they've got their top two weapons back. I like the Packers there. Packers -5.5. Steelers, Raiders. Steelers -3. I'll take that all day. The Raiders might be the worst team in the league. Benched Gardner Minshew, and now they're rolling with frickin' Aiden O'Connell. Like, I don't know how they didn't find a better option at quarterback in the offseason, but they're a disaster. Chargers, Broncos. Chargers are 3.5-point favorites. It's at Denver. Denver's looked like they're getting some things together the last little week. I really like the Chargers. I like what Harbaugh's done there, but they're very injured. Like, I don't know if they have any of their guys that have been out back. I like the Chargers to win, but I'll take the Broncos +3. Home dog, I'll take the home dog there. Falcons, Carolina. Falcons -6. That feels like a trap. Like, why are the Falcons only 6-point favorites over the Panthers? But I'll take it. Like, if the Eagles are 8.5-point favorites over the Browns, the Falcons should definitely be more than a 6-point favorite over the Panthers. That feels like a trap, like something weird is going on. But I'm a sucker for a trap, and especially one like that where I'm thinking, to me, this has 35-10 written all over it. Falcons win. So I don't know how you don't take -6 there. So we're doing it. I'll probably feel stupid and come back to this next week and be like, I knew it was a trap. I said it was a trap. I knew it was a trap. And then I took it anyway. That's happened like 10 times this season. Right. Identify the trap. I'm like, there it is. That game's the trap. And then I go with it anyway. Lions, Cowboys. Lions, 3.5-point favorites at Dallas. I'm taking the Lions. And I think Dallas's good games have been against really bad teams. I think the Lions are really starting to click, really looking good the last few weeks. We'll take Lions -3.5. Bengals, Giants, Sunday Night Football. How is this the Sunday Night Football game? Why? I know it's New York. I know it's a media market, but who looked at the Giants this season and said they should get more than one primetime game? This is already feels like the third, at least, primetime game the Giants have had this season. Bengals -3.5. They haven't looked good. They've been all over the place this season, but I mean, the Giants kind of looked like they came back together last week, got a good win over the Seahawks. Still don't have Malik Neighbors back, though, so that's a problem. I like the Bengals offense. I think the Bengals can score, and I don't think the Giants can keep up with that. So I'll take Bengals -3.5. And then Monday Night Football, Bills and Jets. Jets fired coach Robert Saleh this week. Aaron Rodgers installed as the new shadow head coach. Everything seems to be chaotic up there. Rodgers seems to quietly have, not quietly. A lot of people are pointing out. I shouldn't say quietly. A lot of people are saying he may be out of it. He's still got the ability to make good plays, good throws, but he's not gunslinger, huge time superstar playmaker anymore for sure. Mobility, zero. Bills need to bounce back after a tough loss against the Texans. I'm taking Bills -2. So to recap all the picks for the week, we start with Colts +3, Texans -6.5, Commanders +6.5, Browns +8.5, Bucks -3.5, Packers -5.5, Steelers -3, Broncos +3, Falcons -6, Lions -3.5, Bengals -3.5, Bills -2, 12 pick parlay odds +227,640. A $1 bet will give us $2,277.40. That bet is locked in. Let's win our 12 plays and get some money. Last thing we'll do on the NFL, my updated power rankings, everybody's favorite part of the show. Where are we at? Here we go. All right. Let me make sure I've updated this since Thursday. What happened Thursday? 49ers beat the Seahawks. So we're going to make a quick adjustment here. All right. I'm going to put them there. Live power ranking adjustments. You're seeing this for the first time ever. Okay. I'm happy with that. All right. Here we go. Number one, still the Chiefs. Have to be. Vikings. I'm waiting for them to turn back into a pumpkin, but they haven't done it yet. They're the only other undefeated team. Got them two. Ravens up to third. They've looked really good. Looks like they're finding their stride. They figured out how to use Derrick Henry. They're gonna be a problem for the rest of the season. Lions, I've got up to fourth. Texans fifth. Packers sixth. Bills. I still like the Bills. I think they're going to bounce back eventually, but I had to drop them down a little bit this week. They're seventh. 49ers have jumped them up to eighth after their big win over the Seahawks. Commanders, I've got ninth. Falcons 10th. Cardinals 11th, Bucks 12th, Saints 13th, Bengals 14th, Seahawks 15th, Eagles 16th, Broncos 17th, Cowboys 18th, Steelers 19th, Bears 20th, Colts 21, Jets 22, Chargers 23, Rams 24. I've got the Titans all the way up to 25th. I don't know when I updated this, but that feels too high for the Titans, but that's where I've got them. Giants 26, Raiders. Okay, this is why, because everybody is just so abysmal down below. Giants 26th, Raiders 27th, Browns 28th, Jags 29th. Probably should have moved them up a little bit after they beat the Colts, but whatever. Screw the Jags. Who cares? Panthers 30th, Dolphins 31st, and I had the Dolphins 32nd last week. They beat the Patriots. Patriots by, just that's the linear map pattern that we follow. Patriots dropped to 32nd, which is pretty crazy. I think they actually are technically the worst ranked team in the NFL this season. I think they're currently slated to be the first pick in the draft if the season were to end today. But that's just, we knew they had, slipped. We knew they weren't what they were, but for the Patriots to be the worst team in the NFL right now is crazy to think about after the last, 10, 15 years, whatever it's been of their dominance. So good to see them at the bottom. I always love to see the mighty fall, but we're going to wrap this one up because I got to get ready to head down to Nissan Stadium for the Titans versus Colts. They should be a good game. I think it's going to be ugly barf fest of two mediocre teams trying to see who can be a little less mediocre, but no National SC talk today. Nothing to say about them. Nothing's changed. One game left in the season. I think they're off this week for the international break. Then they'll come back for sad, lame duck, dead rubber game where there's nothing to play for. And even though, could test the kids and see what the kids have, I'm sure BJ Callahan will roll out the same starting 11 that basically has been starting all season, whether it was him, Rumba Montali, or Gary Smith, which begs the question, why did we fire Gary Smith if we're just going to keep playing the same players in essentially the same way? Oh, actually not the same way. We're playing much worse defense than we did under Gary Smith. So I'm not going to talk National SC again until the season's over. I'll do a big post-mortem once the season's officially over, and we'll kind of go through everything and see where that team goes from here. But it's all Titans today, all Titans probably for the foreseeable future with National SC and the MLS season wrapping up. Thanks for watching. More to come on the channel. Make sure you're subscribed and that you have the bell turned on for notifications so you never miss any future updates. I appreciate you watching. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your bagels.